just, nothing to really work on, just those points of interest, I guess. Road report, Mr. Whitcomb.
Handed this out to everybody, I think, for today. There was one complaint since our last meeting. It was just about some dust control. I made a few calls to the neighbors. Everything seems to be resolved, so that's fine. The mowing and the brushing, second round of mowing has started. Maybe we're done. I don't know how much grass is gonna be standing after these next few days. And some brushing has been continued on that. Again, grading was done in various locations. We'll talk about the dust control policy when we have another working meeting. Traffic counts, last month I said there was 33, I've done a couple more. I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to do on those. Last month I talked about proposed improvements on some turnarounds. That work has been completed. And north end of 105th, the west end of 70th, and over by that DNR parking lot area. So those are all ready to go. Items are continuing to be added to the website. And then the other thing was I handed, you don't have, I'll give that to you. But just if everything goes as planned for Saturday's road review, I just wanted to hand these out ahead of time so that people can have a little bit of time to kind of get familiar with what we're looking at. Doug, I don't know if you were planning on coming to or not. I think you talked about it, but I don't know that it's necessary. So the first one is just a map.
Does he have to be there?
I don't know.
We have a quorum, I think we have to have a clerk present, don't we?
Yeah, I
And the public.
I plan to be there, and I need to post that as well. Because it's potential, I just need to post it. I just need to post it out here.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, I just had, we can look at the map real quick. I had Todd finish this up, you know, this 33rd and 82nd is now marked as blue. I added the miles on there, so if you look in the key up in the upper right-hand portion, it's 16.9 miles now of pavement, 22.75 of gravel. That's just, again, for you guys to look at. The second page, it kind of correlates with that large handout that I just gave John. I emailed everybody. There was a concern, I know Dan brought it up about me sending that information out to everybody. When I checked on that before, when sending out information to it's no different than sending out information like for what Doug sends out. Nobody's gonna comment on it, so it wasn't an issue with open meeting violations there. So this information on the second page here with the rating system, this is found in that packet that I emailed out, and that was just given to John. So over the next few days, if you get some time on your hands, just kind of get an idea, like it'd be nice if we were all kind of on the same page when it comes to the rating system, so we can get a handle on which ones we want to prioritize. And then the next couple pages are just, again, for your doodling pleasure when we're out on the road. So that first sheet there is all the roads that are gravel. Some of the things that I'd like to look at, and a lot of it's just, there might not be anything you write down there, but the crown on the roads, if there's washboarding, which is usually taken care of with the one grading. Typically we do this review in the springs. In the springs, we know if there's frost boils, we're not really gonna see those this time of year. Any ponding on the road, any curbing, which is, we may need reclamation, which is in the next column. And if we have any comments about culvert signs and any other notes. So those carry on to the next page too. It's basically the same type of thing. The second page has to do with just pavement. This was something that Todd had pulled together back in 2014, I believe, and this is what I've been working off of to choose on whether we're doing crack filling or chip sealing or seal coating or what we're doing. So you'll see in 2020, that's everything that we did in 2020. And you'll see on line 46, 47, that's 82nd, 33rd. we'll be looking at on the far right-hand side, that's where you can do your notes. We'll do it, the rating system on there if we can, just to get everybody kind of thinking the same thing, which is back to that second page. So I just wanted to get this out ahead of time, so we're not trying to digest this all the morning of and climbing into the Suburban. Let you guys have a little time to look at it. Anything else? I didn't have anything else for the road report. If there's any questions, I can try to answer anything you might have. So for the next report is just the fire report. New houses. They got some new hoses and drop tanks. We talked about the CARES Act money again. We got the calls. They also purchased a foam. The fire department purchased a master foam tote trailer, which it sounds like they're gonna try to go to, basically all the places that actually are gonna need it, which is the gas station and the distillery. And hopefully they won't be coming to the townships at all to be asking for that. Because,
They purchased it? I thought they were applying for a grant.
I'm sorry, they're trying to get grants from a local, yes, I'm sorry, you're right, that's what they're doing. But it's $39,000 for what they wanna get. It's 2 totes. But engine 1, it sounds like it's pretty much done. And if they were to replace that, it's a foam truck, that's an $800,000 expense. So this is considerably less, but at the same time, the only ones that would utilize it are the gas stations or the distillery.
Yep, and that's why I say if they can't get a grant for it and they need to buy it, go talk to them. The distillery is a multi-million-dollar a year company, the city gets a crap ton of taxes on that, and I don't want 1 red cent of township money going for any of that stuff.
Thank you.
I second that. So, and then we just talked about, again, we already mentioned that the jumpsuits, Lucas devices, so I don't wanna kill that dead horse. And then, so for Princeton Township, we had, where is it? 1 medical assist, 1 dispatch and canceled en route, and then no accident found on arrival. They were dispatched, but nothing was there, so it was a pretty light month, they said. So that's it for the fire report.
Can I ask one question on the fire report?
Sure.
How much money is left over from the $1 million grant that they came out and insisted the townships chip in? And why have they not spent the rest of that money in replacing these trucks that were direly needed to be replaced? Did we need to give them money to have in their savings account, or if they're not gonna use it, are they gonna give it back to us?
167 or 87,000.
Left over?
I thought that was.
I'm not sure.
There's somewhere in the ballpark of 150 grand left over that, to the best of my knowledge, they haven't been looking at buying any other trucks, and they strong-armed Wyandotte Township into signing a contract, and they're not replacing anything out at Wyandotte, so, kinda curious as to why they thought they needed all that money, and now they're just got it sitting in their savings account. If they don't need it, give it back.
How do you want me to word that? Exactly like that.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. I thought that was just,
I mean, at one time, they were talking about replacing the equipment out at Wyandotte, but I haven't heard anything else on it, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Milgren, but, I'd just be curious to know, I mean, if they're not gonna spend all of that money, why did they ask for it all?
and when they came to us, they said that it was either gonna have to be paid up front or they would bond for it and then bill us that much excess until we, so it would've been 210,000 or
Yep.
whatever. We had 167, we paid cash, and,
Yeah,
because they said it was going to be spent immediately.
yeah.
That was for the big engine, right, the ladder truck?
The ladder and the engine, and there was money left over, and
Talk about it.
they were talking at one point about doing a tender pumper and replacing out at Wynette, but I haven't heard anything on that. I mean, I'm not on the truck committee at the fire department, but just kinda nice to know, is there anything in the plans for that, or did we just give money for them to have money in their checkbook? I mean, that's just a question to bring up to Ron or whatever at the next advisory board meeting, just kinda interesting to know what they're planning on with that. Don't spend money just for the sake of spending it, but.
Right.
That's all I had for my reports.
New business, request from planning commission member to return to virtual meetings.
Yeah, we covered that in our, we're gonna do the CARES money, so. It was brought up at the planning commission meeting, and we could make arrangements for someone to be able to call in, that's why we discussed all that with the CARES money.
Okay, approve rescheduling November planning commission meeting to November 9th, to get away from the night before election night. I accept the motion, or I will make a motion to reschedule the November planning commission meeting to November 9th. At same time, same place. There's a second.
I'd second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to reschedule the November planning commission meeting to November 9th. Is there any further discussion?
Can we do that by Zoom so I can be in the deer stand? Just kidding.
Just as deer zoom bombing in the background.
Is there room in the deer stand for all of us?
The ads on TV, really, they're about guys calling into their meetings from the golf course. So just remember to put your phone on mute.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is there any
sorry.
further discussion? If not, I will proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried, and if you want somebody else to cover that, Dan.
I was just kidding.
Are you close by? Because it gets dark about 4:30.
No, I'm just deer hunting in my backyard, so
Oh.
I probably should have called you guys on the last one. I couldn't make it to that one. That was my son's last football game, and I had
No, that's
trouble,
just
so I wasn't there.
Next item is appoint new election judges.
Now, we have 6 new names we want to add to our election judge list. They are Connie Henschen, Kim Hayes, Mary Copendrayer, Chris Halverson, Kristen Duden, and Sophie Patton.
Is that Tom's? I've never met her, so.
And they can all get trained in before,
Yeah, they are all scheduled for training. I think most have been to training. Yeah, Jeanette had them all scheduled on training, because the training was last week, so she had them go.
and accept the motion to, say the names again, Connie Henson,
Kim Hayes, Mary Copendrayer, Chris Halverson, Chris with a K,
yeah,
Kristen Duden, also with a K and an EN, and Sophie Patton, P-A-T-T-E-N.
Is there a motion to appoint Connie Henson, Chris Alverson, Sophie Patton, Kim Hayes, Mary Copendrager, and Kristen Duden as new election judges?
I move that motion.
Motion's been made, is there a second? Motion's been made, and is there a second? I'll make the second. To appoint these 6 as new election judges, is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried.
Just a note on that, these are more for the bench than for the, because, there are people saying, they might not be able to make it, they might be dropping out, and stuff like that, so we just wanted to have a pretty long bench available in case we need to bring people in. That's a sports metaphor,
I think getting a new coach.
Next item,
rather than first class.
next item is, work on or work with the planning commission, or comp plan with the ECRDC and, the planning commission, with the planning, or the planning company. Discussion? This was added to the agenda at the beginning.
Since I wasn't at the workshop, what do you guys have in mind for that? There's a couple things. We are, Planning Commission is going to add in more of a discussion on the Great Northern Trail in the park section of the current comp plan. And the one thing that we don't have, and I'm gonna start working on that with Laux, is a comp plan map. There's no comp plan map that I found. So it's assumed in the text of the comp plan that it follows the zoning, so we'll just put that in a map. Other than that, I don't know what you guys are looking for. You know, overall, the comp plan isn't in that bad a shape. Other than maybe if you're tweaking a few items, I don't know if you want to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a brand new comp plan. Again, I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but you know, maybe there's some things that you want, discuss that you want to have.
East Central Regional Development Commission offered that they would do the first 8 hours, I believe, free, and
Just to review it,
just to
and
review
have
it.
them take a look at it.
Well, I know some of the things that came up, and maybe it has nothing to do with the comp plan, it may be more zoning, but we talked about cleaning up, we have several outlots, which was brought up earlier. Is that something that we should try to steer away from? And the ones that are out there, some of them are getting, from what I understand, are being forfeited, and then people are buying them up, and it's not on our tax rolls and that type of thing. Another thing that was brought up was, again, it's the zoning, commercial. If you look at the map there, all the way up at R169, of course, I'm in that zone, but anybody who's trying to do anything with the property, selling it or anything like that, they're really kind of getting.
If they have a single family property out there.
Yeah, so, if I was told that if my home burns down, I can't build there, so what am I gonna do with it? And other people have tried to sell their homes, and they have a tough time getting people that are gonna finance that, because
It's not zoned correctly.
so it should be dual zone, or something of that matter, that if I wanna turn it to commercial, that's one thing, but I had to go, I had to run, again, jump through the hoops like everybody, just to get a barn.
So again, what you're talking about, this is more subdivision ordinance and the zoning is more of a zoning ordinance. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I think as part of the map, we can take a look at some of those issues of the comp plan. But again, I haven't spent a lot of time with your comp plan, but again, I don't know if you need a whole multi-tens of thousands of dollars redo to it.
Yeah, that, what he's referring to is these ordinance.
Yeah, the
Ordinance.
well, the Andrews too, the Andrews have the same issue,
Yeah,
I
Andrews
understand.
and,
So that may not be so much of a comp plan issue, but more of a zoning map issue.
Yeah.
because they had like 3 buyers, and shortly before the closing, they
And
had
that doesn't make
buyers
sense.
And we got the same thing right here, I think Clemens is their name, right? It's really detrimental to the people, anybody who has property along here that's residential to,
Okay.
And then the culverts were mentioned also. We have 3 different
oh, yeah.
culvert sizes as a mandatory for the township.
Well, and some of these too, even we didn't mention this the other night, but I saw it, is our cul-de-sacs are larger than what even the fire department, I think 95 foot is the max that they really recommend, and I think ours are 110. But, yeah, it's in the detail there, there's a detail there that shows it. So just some of those things, some of those dimensions seem to be, the culverts are,
Right.
it shows one that says 12, one that says 15, and we've been putting out in our newsletter 20 inches for the last 4 years.
There's a culvert detail that Laux has put together that's now, should be on the website, but I don't think it specifies that, so I don't know where that's coming from, Bill, as far as where.
It's in the ordinances, in the, section
Oh,
26, the
yeah,
detailed
it
drawings.
probably- Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, one shows 12, 15.
But again, you're talking again more zoning and subdivision regulations.
Yeah,
and
just stuff
Yeah.
that,
and stuff.
yeah.
I don't know if the regional development commission actually is, if they get their fingers in here, if they're just going to muddy everything up or.
Well, they may want to write a brand new comprehensive plan for you for $30,000-$40,000. I don't think you need to spend that kind of money. Not really.
Cares,
Here's money.
No, it's who cares?
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, and I can see there's a lot more cleanup that, we have been doing some cleanup on these ordinances. I think that's more of a pressing need right now in the comp plan, so
And-
that's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just part of it, we didn't know exactly what was what and what covers comp plan versus
Yeah.
ordinances.
We've got a few
details.
things that we're running through the planning commission right now with some hearings, but, this winter, when things are quiet as far as development stuff, we can start looking at those things. I got a list of what you,
I'll keep looking into them, see if it's just.
yeah, cul-de-sacs, and I'll have to look at that, 3 sizes. We can,
And again, the 3 sizes, the 2 are in there, but the 3rd is just, it shows up on our annual newsletter, it's been there the last
Oh,
5 years.
You're done with culverts.
The culverts I'm talking about.
culverts, okay. I don't know where that comes from, so, yeah, okay.
And, sorry, one more thing. Where did the 10 by 12 shed come in that you need a permit for a 10 by 12? I mean, you can have a 12 by 16 brought in on pallet and then move it, it's not,
I think that's minimum building code that's specified by the state.
is that by the state, something the state says?
I think it's 120 square feet.
Yeah.
So you don't need a building permit for a shed less than 120 square feet.
But what if we have one brought in that we've seen many people, Mars sells these that are 12 by 16 and they're brought in on little carts and they set them right down on people's property. And technically, they're supposed to have a permit for that?
You'd have to defer to Lynn on that, I'm not certain, but,
Okay,
yeah,
that's just another one.
yeah.
I think as long as they're not a permanent structure, I don't know
And again, if it
Sure,
doesn't
so yeah,
require
yes.
foundation sort of thing, because I had some friends up at their lake place just brought in one of those,
Yeah.
it came in a bunch of boxes and they put on some class 5 gravel. They can get a building permit for it, so
Yeah.
I'll check with Lynn on
What's a building permit?
But I know,
Shed permit.
that. Shed permit, yeah.
I know my brother-in-law on this off of 95, when they put their, and I don't think it's much more than 120 square feet, and he had to have it laid out exactly the same angle as the house, and it had the siding had to match the house and everything else, and that was Greenbush Township or Black County. I'm not sure which, but he had to go through, it was a pain for him. I'd say that's somebody else's problem. One other thing, Board of Equalization training, and the MAT is really saying that we should have more than one. I'm registered, so I'm gonna finish by tomorrow. It's pretty easy to, you get online, you register, once they do the registration, you get back online. I think it's about a 2-hour session.
I told Thomas I'd nominate him for stuff, to get his stroke back, so.
Yeah, but if Thomas doesn't run next year, it doesn't.
I don't have a,
Shows where the roads are.
But it should be somebody
it's
that's.
on Matt, it's on the Matt
It's on
site.
MAT.
Oh,
Doug will
no,
get
that's-
you, Doug will get you on it.
Yeah. I'll do his training, yeah.
Yeah, you should. And then one of you
Yeah.
two, one of you guys also, there should be at least one from each year.
I'd say Thomas Dewey would be the obvious choice.
But he's coming up for election.
He might not be Ryan.
Okay, no,
I did say
since he's
that.
not
I did
here,
say that.
you know.
Because right now, the only person certified in this township is Greg Anderson. And I'm gonna say he probably, maybe he didn't go through the training.
Oh.
So no action on the comp plan?
Not
going-
I think
no,
we'll
I
just
think
leave it
he's,
to.
Yeah, I've got a list of things that we can start pursuing. And I'll come to the town board before, we get authorization on those elements, so. Once I have a chance to take a look at them.
Is there any further business coming for this meeting? entertain a motion to adjourn. Ken, do you have anything?
No, not really.
And we're getting more, closer and closer to
I
our.
think I'll wait with Doug's deal with his debit card and see how that works out, because I'd like to do the same thing. I mean, right now with when I worked for the school, I had that same type of a setup, so if I purchased something outside of if I needed something for the school, but I was outside of the district area, if I was down to Menards or Home Depot or someplace like that, I could buy it at considerably cheaper than I could buy it in town, but I didn't have to carry it on my credit card. And now this past month with buying the COVID stuff and batteries for the grader, and I got $1,600 that I've been carrying for over the course of the month. And I don't have a big factor with it, but it makes it a whole lot easier to have that debit card tied in with the township's no tax part on there, so that number would be tied right into it, so anytime I would buy something, it would come through no tax, and then at the end of the month, when the file of receipts with it to basically back up everything that I bought that it was for. It's kind of the same process that Doug has got, but that way when something comes up that I need to buy, I don't have to jump through hoops to do it.
Should be able to make it work.
What was that?
Oh, we'll be able to make that work.
Okay.
I mean, I've done it in the past with other
Well, no,
other places that I work.
But we figure out a way to, he needs authorization, or somebody needs authorization, I can give it somehow, or if I have to go somewhere or call somebody, I can do that, but I just wanna get as much as we can, not have to be dumping it on people's cards.
So you can work that out without having a second debit card.
Pardon me?
So you can work that out without having a second debit card.
Yeah, we couldn't get a second debit card because it has to be a signer on the account. So we'll figure that out.
So you do.
So we're set for Saturday at 7 o'clock here, and we've got Thomas's Suburban.
7 o'clock?
8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Well, that's just too bad. Todd's gonna be here at 7. No, I'm kidding. It is, I did tell him 8. So we're using his, Thomas's Suburban. We can all fit in there.
Any further discussion? Any further,
What
anything
would the
else?
township feel about buying a snow blower for doing sidewalks? I've been using my own equipment out here for the last 15 years, and last year I had to replace it. In fact, my snow blower out here, the only place it's ever been is here. I haven't used it in.
Dad's gonna come and shovel.
Yeah. I was already out there, Sean. Appreciates the
Well.
exercise.
He knows my story for tonight.